seize another witch. Is everybody having more fun than a pair of flying monkeys? I hope so. But to continue the fun today, we have a very special panel. Who is fans of the sci-fi show Face Off? We have a range of contestants from that show to recount their experiences, and moderating today is contributing writer to Blumhouse.com and Fangoria, Melissa Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome... Just a moment, sorry. I got her name wrong. Shame on me. Curses. Right here. Here she is. Camilla.
That's correct, thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
Oh, what a lovely host. Hi everyone, and I am so excited to be here for the Face Off panel. Now, first of all, sorry, I'll just put my water down, it's smoky in here. First of all, I would like to introduce to the stage Ben Plowman from season 9. Ben, take a seat here. I'd like to introduce, he's a bit lost, Sig Newton. Sig, season 7. Sig Newton, here he is. I'd like to introduce season 9 winner, Nora Hewitt. And season 7's Rachel Wagner. Great. Now, if you'd all like to take a seat. So I feel really disconnected from you over here, so I'm just going to move over a little bit. So Ben, let me start with you. We've got a few slides that are going to come up with some of your work from the show, as well as some of your work in general. Tell me a little bit about how you got started with Face Off. How did you get on the show?
Okay, so I got an email from casting, and that was the first time I heard from them. Around the same time, my friend Chloe Sens got the same email. She was on season 6. I never ended up applying for it, and then maybe a year or so later, I got another email from Face Off again, and then Chloe and I were talking. I was talking about moving out here to LA. It's the LA area, and she was already out here, and she had already done her season. She was like, you need to apply, you need to move out here, you need to get your life going. And so I applied, I got through all of the auditions, and then two more seasons later, I finally got on.
Oh my goodness, so it wasn't exactly just an easy... Would we be able to get some of the slides of Ben's work up here behind us? Because I know we'd like
That's something.
Oh, it's up there! Oh my gosh, I was waiting for it here.
Is that my finale? Yeah.
Yes. So it wasn't exactly... So you were prompted to go into it. Had you done much work beforehand?
I was working freelance in Austin for the most part. That's where I got my start doing makeup. And I never did really any character sort of stuff. It was all like gore and trauma and kind of easy stuff you just spread blood over and hide all your mistakes. And then, so when I moved out here, I made it a point to do more character stuff and just kind of refine my skills and just be a better artist. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be on Face Off was because it's an opportunity to practice. You know, if you get through the whole season, you've got 20 makeups under your belt in 2 months that you never would have done otherwise. So, and then it's also, I don't have to pay for it. So it's a lot cheaper for me to do it that way.
I know, some of those materials look like they were quite costly, and not having access to all of that cryo and great gear is fantastic.
Yeah. Krylon was also, they were, not that I'm trying to like pitch Krylon, even though they have great products, but they're really generous in giving us all the tools that we needed, along with like the other stuff that we have in the lab. So, like I said, it's just a great opportunity to just kind of experiment and do stuff, you know, that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
Great. And next, we'll roll along to Sig next. Sig, I barely recognize you without the creature coming out the top of your hat.
I get that a lot. If I go out and I'm not wearing a hat, no one recognizes me.
I mean, you're wearing a nautical hat right now. Some sort of like sea winch would have been fabulous coming out the top of that.
That's true.
With a convoluted backstory. So, Sig, tell me a little bit about how your experience getting on the show, what you've done beforehand.
Cool. Well, so I moved out to LA, and I immediately, my first job was working on Tron Legacy, and that was great. And I started working around.
Huge.
Yeah, it was like really cool. And then from that, I transitioned onto working on Sucker Punch. I did a bunch of the gas masks that you see in like the war scene. But Face Off, they were casting at Monster Palooza, and I was like, okay, well, sure, I'll try it, sure. And so I auditioned, and I made it to like the second round or something, and I think it's still online on Hulu. It's like my first interview with them. They're like, so why should we cast you? What would you bring to the show? And I'm like really shy, and I'm like, I don't know, like, fun. I'll bring fun to the show. I'm a fun guy. And I'm like,
hold on, that doesn't sound like you.
I was like, why did I keep saying fun so much? I'm like, oh, fun guy. I'll bring fun to the show.
It's scary.
So that was for season 2, and they didn't want me. And to be honest, I got a little like jaded. I was like, oh, they don't want me. No, I'm not gonna do it. And then season 7 rolled around, and my girlfriend Ranny convinced me. She's like, dude, just try again. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do it, but I'm gonna make the most ridiculous audition video, like that crap crazy. This guy did one too. And I'm just gonna go for it. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't want me. But apparently they loved it, and that's how I got on the show.
What was so ridiculous about it?
I shot it documentary style, where I played all of the characters. I made up a fictitious mom and a fictitious dad, and I played them, and like they're talking about me, and it was really funny. When I was
You're an actor as well, right?
I guess so. I don't know.
Guess. It's quite obvious on the show that you've got a little bit of the razzmatazz about you.
Razzmatazz, I like that. Yeah. No, in the video, my favorite part is where I'm playing my dad, and I'm in a robe in my underwear, like talking about me. And I actually like drop a cigarette. Like it totally wasn't intentional. The cigarette like fell down and it like burned my crotch, and I'm like, and then I just like went with it. I was like, whoa! It's like that was like one of my favorite like spontaneous improv moments on the video.
Sounds fabulous. I mean, I wish we had footage of that here.
I know, I love that face.
I know that face is
yeah.
So next up, Nora, you won season 9, so massive congratulations. And
woo!
Thank you.
So, do you have an interesting backstory about getting on that? I mean, these guys, it wasn't an overnight thing, it was a process. How about you?
It was very overnight, like quite literally overnight.
She really has to rub it in, guys, doesn't
No. It was a very nerve-wracking, I mean, I made myself sick over it multiple times because going into it, I felt vastly underqualified. I literally graduated from makeup school the day before I flew out to start filming the show, and when I auditioned and applied for the show, I was like in my 2nd or 3rd semester in makeup school. So I mean, completely like I was not prepared. I had never sculpted a cow. I think I had applied maybe 3 prosthetic makeups when I went on the show. I mean, underqualified I was in every sense of the word. So for me, it was all happened very quickly, and it was very nerve-wracking, and it was very intense every step of the way, from auditioning to the waiting, because the waiting is like the worst part. Whether it's before you shoot or after you shoot, waiting to get there and start the process, you're on pins and needles the whole time. It's like watching a really, really good scary movie that you've never seen before. So it was a lot of fun, but it was very intense and very stressful. But yeah, it all happened just really quickly.
And you're 25 years old, right?
I'm 26 now, yeah, I'm over that. that hump.
Wow. You're
All
It's all
downhill.
downhill
it's
from
all
there.
downhill from here on in. Okay, so Rachel, you were a season 7 contestant.
Yes.
I hardly recognized you today. I love your hair.
Thank you.
That's great.
So, how about you? Were you like Nora or were you like Ben and Sig?
Well, I auditioned for season 5 initially, and I had made the first cut, but they had decided to do veterans from the first 4 seasons and brought those back, if anybody remembers, and then half new people, but I didn't make the new people cut. I couldn't do season 6 because I was busy, and they cold called me a couple times about season 7, and I was in LA at the time, and I said, you know what, all right, sure, I'll go over and do the interviews, and it worked out.
I'm super stoked. Yeah, we like met each other on season 7,
Yeah.
and like I've made some of my best friends from that season, and I'm really glad to know Rachel.
It's a good season.
I love you too.
And I saw backstage that you all seem to know each other. Is there sort of like a face-off on the weekends?
There's
at
like
the
an
pub?
underground city in LA that we all kind of like hang out,
Yeah,
talk shit about other people.
No, there's definitely like we call it the face-off family, and you know because it's hard to understand what we went through if you didn't go through it. So all these people that we have like secret Facebook groups where we all talk and things like that. You guys can't see there, but you know it's great. Like I've met some of my best friends from the show. And
We also all work together. We work together all the time. So we all, give each other jobs. Sig and I just did a commercial for Tiny Toast.
yeah, Tiny Toast. Who's eating Tiny Toast out here? Anybody?
Right? Yes.
Oh, one.
Okay.
One. Yes.
There's a crazy commercial if you see it with a sheep. Sig made the sheep costume. And it's actually our season mate, George Troster, who is inside the sheep costume. It's a national commercial, so it's great.
See, everyone's streaming now. They aren't watching.
Yeah, no, they don't care. Nora and I just went to Mexico with Gage from season 1 and Drew Talbot from season 7 and did a commercial.
That's very cool. I saw that Gage did the makeup for the taking of Deborah Logan, and I was wanting to talk to him because I don't know how many of you here saw that, but that creature at the end, I don't want to give it
Terrifying.
So good.
Like we were legitimately like scared. Like that was a good movie. We really like it.
It was a great film. Something I want to talk about the show, but just before I do, just something that I'm fascinated to hear what you guys think. How do you guys feel about CGI?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, my background is actually in computer animation, so
Get out of here.
yeah.
I hate you.
That's
No, I'm
what my college
Ben's the
degree is
black
in.
sheep
I
of
think
the
it's
Facebook
great.
family.
It's obviously misused a lot, but when it's done well, I think it's perfect because there's got to be a harmony between practical and digital, and it's really unfortunate that a lot of practical jobs are taken away because digital just seems a lot easier. And you know what? It's not. It's hard work, but it's a lot. What's easier is it's easier to break up one task amongst 1,000 people in a CG environment, whereas in a practical environment, it's like you can do the same thing, but like it's more compact.
Yeah, so there's more an element of cohesion, I suppose, within the team. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I view CG as just another unit on set. Just like you have lighting department and they have their things they're good at and important. Same thing with us, makeup, hair, everybody, we all add together to kind of make that final package. So for CG, I feel like it adds to the makeup if you do it right, and it looks even better than it did before.
Yeah, the future of practical makeup, and I think film and the process of makeup in general is going to be a combination of practical effects mixed with visual effects, and there's been some really successful instances of that already happening.
Can you give some examples of ones
Sure,
that you...
yeah. I mean, I could think of a few of mine where at first I was like, this is an abomination of makeup. How could they do this? So, like, perfect example, I think it was in 2010, they put out the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, and they had that new Freddy makeup where it was more realistic burn makeup, and it was a combination of practical makeup, and then they had sections of the makeup that was green screened out, and they would superimpose, wetness and movement and all these different, cool elements that they would have a hard time pulling off in makeup, or they'd have to cut every 5 seconds to go back and wet this, or run that bladder or make that blood squirt out or whatever. But on the flip side, there's a lot of examples where it'll totally ruin a film. Like you have all this great makeup building up towards this big finale, this big final scene, and then they use like CGI blood, and your heart just like drops. So it's a combination of the two done successfully. That's where it's headed.
What are your favorites, guys? Because mine is, I think, Voldemort from Harry Potter. I think that was just a really great marrying. Oh, where you get the
Totally just kidding.
the nose removal, because we couldn't do that with makeup, but you can push it back with special effects, and that was really great.
My thoughts are on CG is that, look, you can't deny progress. Like, we have technology and it's good, but I'm a practical purist at heart. Like, I want to do as many things practically as you can. Like The Thing, come on, the remake of The Thing was like amazing, and that was all practical. They did a little bit of claymation and things for scenes, but yeah, I mean, I think where the future is going is, mix practical effects with CG effects. Like, that's fine. Like, that's cool. But I think, like, you need something practical for the actors to look at and act with, not just like a really crappy CGI dragon or something, and they've been Plowman's face.
Luckily for you guys, amongst horror and genre enthusiasts, I feel like there's been a massive resurgence in practical effects, which is great.
Yeah.
So onto the show. I mean, tell me if this is right, but Glenn, sometimes when you're delivering a wonderful creation to him, he looks like he wants to kill you.
He's here, by the way, guys. Just keep that in mind.
Is he in here?
I don't know, but let's just
Glenn, are you in here? Raise your hand.
raise your hand.
Glenn is stone cold. Like, that's just kind of like his part in that dynamic. We don't get a chance to interact with the judges at all, like on the show.
So they don't give you any tidbits backstage?
So in a certain part of the season, usually it starts from the beginning up to a certain point. The people that are safe, they'll get safe meetings, so they get essentially 90 seconds of each of the judges' feedback. You're not allowed to talk to them, you're not allowed to answer questions or ask questions, but they'll tell you what they did or didn't like about your makeup, which is really valuable. And then there's a certain point when they just stop doing it when it gets down to less people. You know, they're essentially characters on the show. You know, they all represent a certain aspect of I don't know, of what we're trying to do. You know, Glenn is really good at art. He gets every single reference that you'll ever put in front of him. V just wants to see something cool, and if it looks pretty or if it looks ugly, she'll say so. And Neville wants to see design and form following function, or however that goes.
Like technical art aspects.
So on the show, one thing I'm always so impressed with is the level of professionalism. I mean, you are all so respectful of one another. Surely there must be times where you just want to kill another contestant because they're like caning it, like just doing really well. But I don't know if the show edits that out. Is there much tension going on?
You know, actually, no. Like, so it's really hard to describe because if you haven't been on the show, you just don't know. And like, we're all there, and we all feel like we're in this crazy situation where, like, we love each other and we want everyone to succeed. Like, I don't want to compete against someone. That's why we help everyone with their molds and things. Like, if something's going wrong, you help them because you want to compete against your opponents, like, at their best. And there are so many times in the process of makeup where things can go wrong, like molds and, like, you know, like, you can't get it open, you can't get it clean. That's why we all help each other. And, you know, like, that's what I want to compete against. If you have a great idea, I want to compete against you with your awesome idea, and I want it to get finished. You know, I don't want you to like not have a great piece because you didn't make it or you didn't open your mold in time or something like that. So we're it really creates a family. Like, even though it's a competition, we're all family and we're all in the same crazy situation.
Well, and occasionally people do get into little tiffs or fights, you know, particularly when people are working together as a group. That's really difficult to have these two ideas come crashing. So sometimes people get snippy or scream, but that's always on camera. So what you see is kind of what you get. They're gonna put that on camera because that's the best part.
Yeah, if there's anything like entertaining, it's going on film. But yeah, I think for me anyway, at a certain point in the competition, like again, what Sig was saying, like yeah, we're all just ready to help each other at a moment's notice because like I don't want to like win a challenge because so-and-so couldn't open their mold, therefore they had to use polyfoam the next day in latex to run their cowl. Like that's an unfair, that sucks. And that's not, you know, there's a very strong like camaraderie amongst, I think, everyone in the special effects community, face off or not. And I think that we all have just an appreciation for what we're all trying to do, so you don't want to see anyone fail on a technicality. But really, I mean, at a certain point, you're competing against yourself because everyone's a phenomenal artist. Everyone is evenly matched, you know, production and casting does a really good job of making sure everyone's kind of in the same ballpark of, you know.
It's really cool,
Yeah.
and it comes
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
Now, obviously the cameras are there to capture when there's a moment of stress and I mean, every episode, one of you at least will almost have a meltdown because something's going wrong. Now, do any of you have any stories where you thought, this is it, I want to give up? And it was either captured on camera or even better if it wasn't, if any of you had a story like that? Rachel?
I hid from the camera crew. I knew that I had ear molds that probably weren't going to come out, and so I like secreted them outside and then started opening them, and then when camera crew would come out, I would like run away and pretend I was eating lunch, and they would go away, and then I'd run back and open them as quietly as possible.
Should have went to the bathroom.
Yeah, she would like find me and like mouth, like she wouldn't say words because we're all mic'd, so she wouldn't say words. She's like,
She likes the mouth.
and she's like, okay, wait, what can I do to help you? Like I'm mouthing it to her, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
as soon as you say, there's like a set of hot words that you say,
Yeah.
and you'll have like 5 camera guys
Help.
jump on you.
Oh, no.
Like if
Yeah.
you're like, if you say, oh crap, the mold is locked, you get like boom, like everybody's on you.
Surround
And,
sound.
Yeah, so it's like you have to be careful what you say because they will.
They're like
Yep.
sharks.
Boom.
The
Yeah.
blood in the water.
Yeah.
Smell it.
Right
You're
for
all
it.
very good with cursing. If I was on there, there'd be beeps every 2 seconds.
They don't
so
air
many-
everything
Oh, yeah.
that we say.
I think they secretly love it. It's like when you get like upset, like they're like, yeah, curse up a storm. Do it. And they're
Well,
like,
when
beep, 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 beep.
When you
Looks
get
good
really
on TV.
upset, sometimes they'll send out interviewers to you to be like, how does that make you feel? And you're in the middle of tears.
It's like, yeah, you're failing really hard. How does that make you feel?
Can you tell
talk
us
to us
this?
about
Can
that?
you look at the
Oh,
camera?
I'm sorry. I know you're working, but can you look at us and can you tell me like how bad you're screwing up right now?
I know there's a
I always-
clock that's running, but can you take a moment of your 6 hours you have left and talk to us?
I always
No, I
wished
can't.
We know you have no time.
Do they ever say, can you say it again but with more feeling?
Yes.
I always wish that I cussed more in my interviews. Like I was always editing myself in the interview process.
Oh, yeah.
It was such a bummer. Such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So let me just ask each of you individually, what movie was it that you saw as a kid, or what makeup artist did you see and you were like, this is what I want to do? Ben.
I think we might have all the same answer.
It
But
might
let's
be
see.
the same answer.
Really?
For it. So I fell into makeup kind of by accident, so I never really knew it was a job. But the one makeup that always resonated with me, it's just what kind of haunted me for a long time, was the darkness from Legend, and that's probably most everybody's answer for the most part. That or The Thing, you know. Rob Bottin was a master at just terrifying you with his work.
And, well, is this the same for
I thought we were gonna have the same one, but we didn't. That's okay. No, mine was John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. Like, man, fantastic physical effects in that. And also, like, as a kid, I watched the making of Thriller with Rick Baker and crew. Like, man, that like really like. And I watched the movie Summer School, where I don't know. Has anyone seen Chainsaw Dave? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, those guys were my idols. They're like they just. If anyone hasn't seen Summer School, please watch it because you'll see like these super goofball guys that do makeup effects in high school. And I was like, man, I want to be like those guys.
I just recently saw that scene again, and it's really incredibly high production value for
Great.
what those
It's
teenagers
really
can
great,
do in that
yeah.
shitty school. It's amazing.
I know. And yes, so that was kind of my thing. The making of Thriller and
That
Summer
is
School.
really cool. Still holds up. Still
It
holds up.
totally holds up for sure.
And Nora, how about you?
For me, my mom started me really early on like just straight horror out the gate. So for me, it was movies like Poltergeist and Lost Boys and American Werewolf in London. I mean, those for me from a very early age are my favorite.
Did you do Universal Horror Nights there? I think was it last year, the year before they had the Slaughtered Lamb, and that must have just got you big time.
Oh yeah, I mean, me and my mom still to this day will quote American Werewolf in London because it's one of those movies that I watched with her at like 5. And she's not even a big horror fan, but for some reason she felt the need to show me these movies, and I'm glad she did because I wouldn't be like who I am. I wouldn't be sitting here like I wouldn't love horror as much as I do if I hadn't. Instead of watching Disney movies, I watched Rick Baker films. And it's not, it's just I'm so happy that she did that.
Disney, you were watching Blood-Sucking Freaks. What?
It's just, thanks, Mom.
It's a funny story about like Halloween Horror Nights is that George Troster, he won our challenge with the movie posters, and he took me as his date. So we went there, and all of a sudden I was like, dude, if we see Rick Baker, we're gonna drop down, we're gonna do Wayne's World, like, we're not worthy. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we come out of the American Werewolf in London maze, and it was amazing. We come out, and we see, like, David Naughton, or the guy that was in it, whatever, and Rick Baker, and we're like, I dropped down, and I'm like, we're not worthy, and George is just like talking to him like a normal human being. I was like, dude, you totally, like, we were supposed to like do it together, and you made me look like a total asshole. Like, come on.
So funny. Rachel, how about your influences?
Let's see. So I didn't think that I had a deprived childhood, but apparently I did. Because hanging out with all my new makeup friends, everyone's like, you saw this movie, right? Like, I didn't see Legend until last year. I know.
What?
I know.
Seriously?
I know. So for me, it was a little bit more mainstream because I missed all of the horror movies. I'm educating myself currently, let it be known. But for me, Lord of the Rings was the first thing where I went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good. The orcs in that blew my mind. And I think what sealed the deal was right before I went to makeup school, Pan's Labyrinth had just come out. And that, to this day, might be my favorite makeup ever, the Pan itself.
So good. So we might have some people in the audience here that are aspiring to be special effects artists, or what can each of you say about Face Off, and do you think it's good? Has it changed your life, your career? How has it affected you? Ben?
Don't make Face Off your end goal. Just make it a step in whatever direction you want to go, if that's something that you want to do. Face-off makeups are face-off makeups. They're not real. They're not. Yeah, they don't represent our industry. So we all.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does it differ when you get given a challenge and you've got so many out? How does that differ to on set?
Well, generally you would have prep time. You would have more than 3 days to make a makeup. That's absurd, and if you ever take a job like that, you're doing a disservice to our craft. But Face Off is a game show. So on set, you would, if you're building a makeup for. Okay, so there's a picture of I redid my human peacock. There's a picture of it kind of floating around. You'll probably see it in a second. You know, I had 3 days to do the original, and it was just like it was like up here and here. That's all I did for it. For this one, I did a whole head, and I had, I don't know how long I gave myself, like 3 weeks to do it, and that was still an absurd amount. Yeah, that's the original one. It was just a ridiculous amount of time that I didn't have to make it, and I'm surprised I did it in that amount of time, because it's a lot of work, and it was just me. I feel like I'm kind of rambling about stuff, but...
Which it was fabulous seeing the judges have to do that, but even then, they got assistance and longer time, which is quite unfair. And I think you guys just as good, in my opinion. I don't know about everyone else, I think they're just as good.
Thank you.
So back to the thing about how it's changed your life for you, or has it at all?
I think it's just, it was just a really fun way to practice, you know, and, you know, we're all trying to just, and I think I mentioned this before, we're all just trying to keep working so that we can get better. And if you just use it as a tool for that, then, you know, that's a good place to be. But don't expect it to rise you to fame and fortune, because that's not going to happen at all.
How about you, Sig? Has it changed things?
Yeah, you know, again, what you see on the show is not realistic. Like, we do it and like we pull it off, but it's like a lot of like producers and like production companies, like they come in and it's like, oh yeah, can you make this in like 2 days? And it's like, no, we need a lot more time than that.
Do you have $5,000?
Yeah, right, yeah. It's, you know, just because we did it on Face Off doesn't mean that that's how it should be. So I do want to put that out there. It's like, this is not a realistic timeline of how you make things, but you know, like we did a lot of things that pulled it off, and I worked for a lot of shops. Like I've worked on big movies, but then when I met my girlfriend Randy, like we started doing our own thing, and that's when she encouraged me to go back on the show the second time, and it really like helped our brand. You know, it's like when you work for a shop, you're kind of like a cog in the machine. Like you make the mold, or you just, you know, you clean the mold. You know, there's all these like weird little odd jobs that you do, but no one is like in control of the whole thing unless you freelance. If you freelance, you're like, okay, cool. This is what I think the creature should be. I'm gonna sculpt it, and then I'm gonna mold it, and I'm gonna do everything. But when you work for like big movies, it's like, oh, I just mold it, or I just clean the mold. So. As much as I love working on big movies, it's great. You don't have a lot of creative input,
and you don't have an opportunity to make adjustments too. Like if you work in that short amount of time, because that's a lot of the process is to make. You know, you present a design, and then your client will be like, I want to change this and that, and you can't do that in 3 days.
Yeah. Sig just made a really important point about the previous question, which was how is Face Off different than what we do normally. What he just said was that sometimes you're only cleaning the mold. There's a ton of people who work on these big creature suits and different makeups. And I mean, upwards of 30 to sometimes 60 people. And some people are just doing eyebrows. Like, that's how it works. There are a lot of people involved. So I just want to add to that.
I just recently worked on Guardians 2, like in the lab, and
no, I'm just kidding.
I'm not saying where. And all I did was run polyfoam heads, just like polyfoam heads, so you can pin the appliances for the painters, so that they could paint them. I just made coat hangers. That's all I did.
Yeah, that's when I got on Tron Legacy, it was like that's what I was doing, and then like everyone like back home was like, oh my god, you worked on this movie, that's so crazy. I'm like, kind of just did this. I don't know, it's not that exciting.
But it was cool being a part of it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Nora, how about you? Has winning Face Off changed the game for you, or?
I mean, it helped. Definitely, I mean, it helped. Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, everything happened really, really fast. So I'm still kind of figuring everything out. I just moved out here in December, so I haven't even been out here for a whole year yet. My career hasn't even, I haven't even had like a full year in the
You're
industry.
still trying to figure out the 405.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still getting to know LA. So I mean, for me, it's constant change and hopefully growth and movement, in the right direction. And for me, I've gotten really lucky to have been able to work in a few really awesome shops out here already. I haven't been here very long at all, so I'm very fortunate to have gotten any work at all in my first 6 months of moving out here, because I don't know how many of my friends came out here and didn't
awesome
find work,
attitude.
for months and months, and that still happens. You'll work on a movie, and then production will end, and bye everybody, and then everyone's scrambling to find work, and sometimes you're out of work for a while, so it's not, until you're in it, you have no idea what to expect, and you don't know really what the ins and outs of it are, but it's cool and it's rewarding, and it's one of those things where it makes you want to keep going to get to like the good stuff, like to get on set, you gotta work forever, you know what I mean, so.
Nora, would you say that your face-off family has like helped you get jobs?
I would say so. That's the other really, really cool thing about it. It's kind of like this weird, I don't know, like there's generations, right? Like there's the baby boomers and there's this and that. And then there's like the face-off kids, right? And it's really helpful because there's like over 100 of us now or something. There's a lot of us. So that's a lot of people in my immediate network to reach out to and to have reach out to me. So it's amazing, I got the gig in Mexico, with Rachel that we just did, and Drew and Gage.
What
that
is-
was an
what is
all
this gig
face-off
in-
crew. That was awesome.
Are we allowed to know what the
Are
gig
we allowed to
is?
say what it was? Yeah. It was. We did the new promotional commercial for the Universal Halloween Horror Nights that'll hopefully come out soon.
Yeah, Halloween Horror Nights.
That is amazing.
It was really neat. That was my first big thing that's really the first major shoot that I've gotten to do since I got out here, and it was really, really exciting, and I couldn't have been surrounded by better people. So that made all the difference. So.
Wow. And now, Rachel, I've got to ask you, how has Face Off affected you?
It's actually been really great for me. I decided to move out right before the show, so I was moving to LA, and I packed all my stuff in a car, drove to LA, parked it at a friend's house, went on the show, got off, and for the next 2 weeks before the finale filmed, found an apartment. So my move was kind of coinciding with Face Off for me. And it actually was awesome for me, particularly because I met these really great people and got jobs right away. And actually, what was really awesome was the production crew hired me. Some of the sound guys gave my name out, and I got some work right out of the gate. So it was really important for me, and it's been important. I got a shop supervisor job, I think because of the way I handled myself on Face Off. And then, I got to hire all my friends, so.
Awesome. So apart from the Universal ad, the Horror Nights commercial, do any of you have anything coming up that we can keep an eye out and go, oh, that was Ben?
I worked on the Nosferatu remix with Doug Jones. I got to do his makeup on that. Me and my friend Mel Meinhardt, yeah. That project is like every makeup artist's dream job, and somehow I kind of fell into it. It was pretty awesome.
That is really cool. Anyone else got anything that we should know about? Or?
Me and Randy, and also Rachel, and George Troster, and a couple other people, we did these Tiny Toast commercials that are apparently supposedly only on social media, so you can see them on Snapchat.
No, I saw one on.
I think they're on YouTube now.
I saw one on TV.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What?
I was trying
that
to
means
take
they
a
need to
selfie
pay
with
us more, because if it goes on TV, we signed a contract. It's like, if
Well-
it goes on TV, we're supposed to make more money.
Yeah, I was trying to
don't know.
catch a selfie with
How
it,
these
but it
things
passed
work.
by me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Anyways, Tiny Toast. We all made these, a seagull suit, a sheep suit, 2 robins, and we were all in them, puppeteering them, and
They're
it was
hilarious.
a lot of fun.
It's really worth it.
Yeah, so look out for the Tiny Toast commercials. We all did that.
We also, Sig and I, there's a photo of Fall Out Boy up there. We did a music video with them.
Yes, we
recently.
did. Yeah, Fall Out Boy. I made a bunch of silly hair pieces for them because they were supposed to be like dolls or something. Like foam fabricated like fake looking hair, and they did all the makeup, and I just showed them. Oh, there it is. Yeah. And apparently, like, Demi Lovato was in that. And I think we were at the crafty section.
And Joey Fatone.
And I don't even know who Demi Lovato is, but like, I was like trying to like eat carrots in ranch. And then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, I really like your hat. I was wearing one of my silly hats. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And then after the video came out, I was like, oh crap, that was Demi Lovato. And I had no idea that she was complimenting my hat.
That's okay because Joey Fatone came backstage and told
yeah,
all
he
the people
loved
who
it.
were working, because we were all face-off people, he was like, I really like you guys. I've seen your show. And I didn't know who he was. And I knew who he was when I was a kid.
How did you
so it was really
not know who he
awkward.
was?
I don't know. He walked out and I freaked out. Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, well, we've got a lovely audience here, and I was wondering if we could have somebody come up with a microphone, because I'm sure some of you might have some questions that you might want to ask our
questions are great.
lovely
Anybody?
panel. Now, has anyone, sorry, I've got poor eyesight, has anyone got a question for anybody up here?
Don't be shy.
Anyone?
There's
We've got
one.
We've got
There
one
it is.
here in
What's
the
that?
middle.
Run.
Excuse me. Thank you. You guys touched on it a little bit, how things behind the scenes of the show, sort of, you guys had like little freakouts, and they edited to, sort of put the more popular things on, more entertaining stuff on. Was there any moments where, like how reality TV shows are, is there any moments where you're watching it on TV and something may have looked a little more out of proportion than when it really was behind the scenes, like some dramatic moments where you're just like, it wasn't that bad?
Sig, your willow tree.
Oh yeah. Yes, that tree lady. So we had all these wonderful branches, and the whole idea behind the makeup is that she needs to be hidden behind these like hanging branches. Our model is very petite, and like it was a little too heavy for her. And we're like, okay, no, this is great, because we put everything on. We're like, oh, we got this. We're gonna win this one. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we just have to let you know that we're gonna take everything off. And like the guy that like helps us out, like he's trying to be like, no, like keep at least it's just one branch that's too heavy. And they're like, nope, we don't have time. Let's take it all off. So.
And it totally, I mean, the makeup was really cool underneath it, but,
Yeah, but
it totally
killed the
ruined
whole thing.
the whole.
Totally killed the whole idea of the character. Yeah, and that's why we were on bottom. Luckily, we didn't get eliminated, but yeah, no, it was tough. My other thing too was chum bag. When you do a makeup, it's very important that you know how it's lit when they film it. When on Face Off, you don't have that luxury because you just put it out on stage and they have really harsh stage lighting. And you don't know how it's gonna look until you watch the episode. So, Chum Bag, like I was really happy with that. I thought it was super cool. But on the stage lights, it like blew everything out, and he just looked like a big red mess. And I was so sad when I watched that episode. I was like, I love this character. I can't wait to see. Oh no, okay, nope, he looks terrible. So, yeah, that's my two things.
Okay, have we got any other question? Where's our runner? Great.
There we go.
Hey.
Hello.
First, thank you for being here. Really, guys, it's inspiring. And
Thank you.
well, and a little, I guess, if we could pick one or two things from each one of you, what are some dream, sky's the limit, makeups, designs that you have not yet done, that if you could just do it tomorrow, sky's the limit? What are some one or two dream makeups that you would love to do?
If one of you knows right now, you can go first.
Whoever knows that.
Who's got a
you
quick
go for
answer?
it.
For me, I really love like all the classics. So any chance I could get to recreate any of like the iconic characters that inspired me, or like have something to do with like the next, reimagining of those characters, like I would kill to work on, you know, a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street or, you know, even one of the Universal monsters. So for me, I have such a respect for what's already come, you know, that that'd be a dream to work on that stuff because I'm a huge fan at heart. So for me, I like the stuff that we've all already seen, you know. It's not like I don't hate new stuff, but for me, the old stuff really resonates because it's what sparked my excitement about it in the first place. So any like reboots, I'd be happy to do justice on.
I think for me, anything comic book. I have such a love of comics and their movie counterparts that working on any of the like new Marvel films, or you know, if they ever come out with another Hellboy, like that would be amazing. I will do that Ape Sapien makeup. Yes, thank you.
How about you guys?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's anything in particular that I've
Ben
always
doesn't like
wanted
stuff.
to do. So what? I don't like anything. So no, I mean, I'd love to make a creature suit. I've always wanted to do something big. I don't know what I would do, but I've always wanted to do something big, and I think that'd be cool. But I also really like really subtle makeups. Like, I would love to do just a really clean old age makeup. You know, just couldn't even tell. Yeah,
Doesn't matter what.
doesn't matter what.
See?
Yeah, well, they already did the sequel to The Thing. And
Oh gosh, you really, this is like the 7th time you've met.
I know.
You
I'm
love it.
gonna drill it into everyone's head. the thing.
Hey, Sig, you know what I haven't seen?
What's that?
You know what I haven't
You know what
seen?
I haven't seen? She said.
You haven't seen The Thing? Oh my God, that's all like shame, shame, shame. You have to walk naked outside of here. No, but oh my God, no. I would have loved to work on The Thing sequel, but I feel like they used too much CG with that. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if they did like a Street Trash remake or something. I'd be into that. I'm really into like really bizarre films that make no sense. House 2. Has anyone seen House 2? Woo! No, not House 2.
I thought
House
you said
2.
House 2.
Yeah, I have the scary cat tattooed right in my arm there.
Oh wow.
It's a super bizarre film. You guys all need to see it. Yeah, I would just love to work on anything that's really ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Have we got we've got a question over here. Sorry, I'm making people run from one side to the next.
Hi, I was curious about the interviews where, there's all these scenes where you're rushing around, it's time crazed, and then they'll cut away to an interview where you're talking with emotion like, I just don't know how I'm gonna get this done. How is that all edited and put together?
The interviews were filmed essentially like after we finished a challenge. Sometimes they would do it. They would do it pretty much at the end of every week. So we're probably like into the next challenge by the time we're doing that interview. We wear the same clothes for all of our interviews, and so if you got a good interviewer, they can get that emotion out of you. But if you remember my season, I was just like plain toast the entire way through.
They were upset with me because my facial hair was like growing out, and when you do the interviews, yeah, like you said, it's after everything has happened, so you can kind of like look at people and like, oh yeah, okay, they probably lost.
Oh yeah.
Like discern, but my facial hair kept growing out, and they were upset about it because they want to be able to cut to certain things, if they need to, but. Yeah, so my beard kept growing and
Facial hair, but also hair dye is a big issue.
yeah, you know that all too well.
And I'm a Southern girl, so I had big Southern hair in my, and by that I mean giant curly, fluffy hair in my interviews. And one day they switched my interview time and didn't tell me, so I came without curls. So I'm like finger curling in the car, attempting. So if you ever see it, you'll see there's a time where it's just super flat.
Gosh, and the upkeep on Keelan's eyebrows must have been, does anyone remember Keelan with the blue eyebrow. That
They gave her products
the
for
whole
that.
thing.
KA Blue
They
Brows.
gave her
yeah.
products and so that she could keep that up. She
It-
just did that every morning. I bet.
Well, yeah, but you know, like, I love Kaylin, but dude, like, that turned into a whole thing, and it's like, the whole trolls and like terrible people that want to like voice their opinions. It's like, whatever, dude. And me and Brandy, like, we started a campaign like KA Blue Brows. Yeah, so I did a hashtag, and like I painted my eyebrows blue. We painted our dog's eyebrows blue. Tupac Shakur, we like painted blue eyebrows on him. Like, there's a whole thing because it's like, dude, like, who cares? Really?
What Sig
Like,
is talking about, for anybody who doesn't know, is that sometimes because we put ourselves out there and we're on national TV, you know, we get a lot of fan response, which is really great. But sometimes it can be negative, and sometimes it's about our appearance.
Most of the time.
And but there have been a lot of instances, recent and past, where people have focused on one person and talked about one aspect of their wardrobe, their hair choice, whatever it is, their weight. And we all feel very strongly about it, as you might, you know, guess.
Face off family.
Family. But it's really a shame. And Kaylin was being targeted about her eyebrows because she has blue hair. And
all
her
things,
eyebrows
come
are
on.
painted blue or multicolored, whatever she decides on that day. And it was just a very nasty.
Gosh, I had no
Campaign.
idea. I feel terrible bringing it up.
No, actually, it's
Yeah,
good.
it's just
you brought
really
it up.
That's
petty
good.
when
Let's
people,
talk
like,
about it.
freak out.
Awareness is the
We
key.
started a whole campaign to like be like, hey, dude, like, if you want to have blue eyebrows, go for it.
I
Like,
think
why-
it's
why is
great.
that
I
wrong?
mean, you guys are artists, and to me, the way you all dress so not all of you, but the colourful dress is like an extension of your art. I think it's fabulous. And the fact that people are choosing to turn that into a negative thing is disgusting.
Yeah, it's
But we really appreciate all the positive stuff. So, woo! Like all of you here, that's really great. Thank you for coming.
Have we got another question here? Nobody's got any more questions?
They know everything.
Really? Nobody?
Really?
You guys are all wonderful.
Oh,
Really?
we've got one
there we
here.
go.
We've got one here.
Do it.
And we coaxed it out of you.
Before
This is my
he
favorite
talks, I
part.
do want to add something. We were asking about the interviews. The only interview they film on the day is right after you get kicked off because I want to catch your tears.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I want
If you
that
get kicked
paint
off,
fresh.
There's this weird little like section of the stage where like we walk by it when we're going to like do the makeup, and we all look at it and we're like,
There it is.
somebody's gonna be sitting there doing an interview,
Yeah.
an exit interview. yeah. They hold you up and like, oh, it's so upsetting. Talk about it.
Okay, so your question?
Yeah, I'm only asking because we got coaxed, or I got coaxed out of it. But do you feel like sometimes, especially towards the end of the season, where there's only like 5 or 6 people left, and since there's no like ranking system, it's just kind of week by week. Do you think the judges sometimes show a little bit of favoritism? So like, if somebody was really strong in the beginning of the season, and now all of a sudden there's only 5 people left, and it's like almost like a coin flip, you know, between like the 2 bottom looks to see who goes on. And sometimes they just kind of play a little bit of favorites because it's like, well, that person's been strong the whole season, and they technically don't have the better makeup this time, but we can't send them home. Do you feel like that comes into play?
Talking about me?
Ken was like, you talking about me?
This seems to happen every season, so
I think-
not specifically.
I think they take it into account very strongly. And, I think that each challenge is, yes, challenge specific. If you don't meet the parameters of this challenge, there are ramifications, regardless of how stellar your work's been for the duration of the season. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's challenge by challenge. But I think if there's a really strong
But when it comes down
competitor,
to a tie-
they take it into consideration. Like, I think in any instance, they take the whole body of work into consideration, but they always stress to us, like, listen to what they're saying, listen to the challenge, because that's what they want. Don't stray from it.
They do. I have heard from judges before that they do take previous work into consideration. So it's swirling in their brains. And if they've just seen something super amazing from you the last week, they still have that imprint, you know, and they know, oh, maybe this just wasn't your week. Let's see what you can do next week. Yeah.
And sometimes the immunity seems to come at a very
Convenient.
perfect time, you know?
Oh, immunity.
That's
Well-
just I observed that. I don't know if that's right, but
To be,
Interesting. to say the. Oh, I was just saying immunity on our season at least. Interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I would say if you want a specific example, I should have gone home instead of Kevin because my makeup was terrible. But I think the judges really struggled with what Kevin was putting on stage week by week. And I don't know why he was even up there because I liked his makeup. I thought, and most everybody else liked his makeup. But you know, it came as a shock to most of us. You know, I think everybody thought I was going to go home, especially me. And then it was Kevin, and
That's like exactly how I felt about me and me and Scott were safe that one episode, but when I had my massive meltdown, it was a focus challenge, and I ate shit. I mean, it was bad.
You lost focus.
It was bad, but I ended up being safe, and Stevie went home, and I just was I felt horrible about that.
Wait,
and
Stevie went home when I was on bottom.
No, Stevie went home on the
Yeah, I was
the
on
fish
bottom.
girl, the fish girl.
Yeah,
You
I
were
was on
on
I was on the stage with her when they eliminated her.
He would know.
But I'm saying I felt like I should have been on the bottom that
I
week.
see, I
So
see,
I
I see.
felt bad when she went home because I totally fudged my sculpting. I think I spent maybe 3 hours on the sculpture. I was crying for the first 5, and it was bad. And then there's situations like that where you're always like, it should have been me. You know, they're too good. Save them. No.
Yeah.
And you want to throw yourself to the wolves, and you can't.
When you see the tears at the end of the episode where we all hug each other, and there's often one person being like, I'm so sorry, you know, they
That's guilt.
actually mean it. They actually we mean
when
it.
you see that group hug at the end, no, that's legitimate. You really do love these people and you respect them as artists, even though it's a competition. And it's really upsetting to see someone go home, every time, you have no contact with the outside world, so you're all cooped up, but no, it really is, emotionally upsetting to see people go.
I will say the immunity thing can be a double-edged sword, though, because when you get immunity in a group project, you know, you are then responsible if the other person goes home in some way. Because if you guys get on bottom, you're safe. They can't choose you, so the other person has to go. And that can be really scary. I had I had an instance where I was working with Dina, who was our season winner, season 7, and we were making a tree, and it was terrifying because we ended up re-sculpting after the first day. So we did.
I remember that, and they made it sort of light in the edit, like it was just as though you hadn't spent that much time getting. But I remember
it was 6 hours. We lost our first day completely. We re-sculpted, everything from when we came in the next day. And we were both freaking out. When they called us safe, we cried. Both of us. We were jumping up and down.
I can't believe the cameras didn't get you crying. I mean, that would have been gold.
I'm really good at hiding it.
One thing I've got to ask you that I always think is really interesting, when the judges go up close to inspect each of your pieces, you can't hear what they're saying, right?
Hell no. It's
Not at all.
horrible.
They are so good at that whisper.
And it's so quiet in that room. I don't know how they do it.
We're all leaning forward.
Yeah,
They're speaking their own language, I think.
we have
I
to
don't know.
stand all in a line, and apparently because we're all friends, so the people that are standing next to the makeup's they'll be oh, I heard him say it was really good or it was bad, but they're holding their mic because they're listening to us all the time. So it's you don't have to say anything that'll get you in trouble, but yeah, no, we can't hear anything they're saying. We just have to read body language.
But I've never seen a group of judges with such incredible poker faces. I mean, Glenn just looks permanently angry.
That's his normal
I made him
face.
laugh.
That was probably part of their requirement for being a judge on the show was can you hold that poker face the whole time? Yeah.
Well, Neville could be saying the worst thing and he'd look quite jovial about it, I think. So it must be really nerve-wracking because sometimes you must be thinking, I think I did okay. And then they get up and just slam your work. Did that ever happen?
Oh yeah.
Sure, yeah.
We like you, but how is your terrible face? Can you just put it on? Yeah. No, go ahead.
I got nothing. Yeah, sometimes you just can't can't tell. And by the end of the season, you've like kind of figured out like when Glenn moves his hand really erratically, he either loves it or he hates it.
Yeah.
So, like, you
It
just
could mean
pick up
either
on
thing.
things.
Yeah, he's like all pointy.
I've gotten
You know,
really
he
good at
likes
lip
to
reading.
aggressively point at things, and it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing.
He's so excited, and that's why he's doing this to your makeup, or he could be like, this is about to
This
fall
is
off. Like,
terrible.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Or wait, look at this. It's great. This is great.
I think I've kind of figured out some of the different hands. So if he's doing this, he's like, wow, look at all that detail.
It's the detail,
and then
yeah.
and then he does this. It's like a this, and that's like, oh wow, look at the way it flows. But then there's a like this, and that's just like, this is dog shit. Like.
This
You're
one?
right. Like he does like a flip outward.
He's just like brushing it away.
This thing.
He does this one too. And
no.
this is always the like, it's
Don't
disjointed,
understand
there's
why
something
it did
wrong
this.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we all have to stand there and just like and watch them. Like, oh my god, do they like it? I don't know. What's going on?
And if they don't say, if they're up there for a very short amount of time and they don't say much, not a good thing.
Yeah,
Not
it's
a
bad. Like if they go to your makeup and like they just very short and then they pass it on, it's like, oh,
I've
crap.
got nothing to say about
I
Wrong
messed
sounds.
up. But if they take a long time on it, you're thinking like, oh, I think I did a good makeup, or actually, wait, maybe I did a bad makeup because they want to talk about it a lot. I don't know. What is it? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know.
You also have, while the judges are standing there, sometimes they have to repeat themselves, which is really funny because they have to do the same hand motions that they just did. So you'll see them think about it and be like, okay, I looked at this and this. Oh, I turn around and I did this motion.
For the wide shot.
No.
Well,
like,
but also when they're, you know.
yeah, we stand there and we watch them go down the line and shoot all the stuff and talk about it, and then we have to stand there again for the wide shots. They're doing like with the jib and like they're taking wide shots, but when they do the wide shots, I think they're just whispering and they're just like pointing at things. So
It's like watching it in a speed.
Yeah,
it
it's
goes
like
through really fast.
It's movie magic. Like it seems like it's so fast, but we're there for like 2 hours just standing there, like.
It's like
Well, look, I have absolutely loved hearing all of your stories, and you've been such a great panel. Love Face Off. Thank you so much for sharing everything. Everyone, give these guys a huge, so talented.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for coming.
so much.
Yes, thank you.
Now, we actually have a little treat about to happen. We have Brian Evans is going to come onto this stage right now, and he's going to be singing The Creature from Bates Motel.
Oh, there you go.
Hello. We get front
Best
row
seats in the house right here. Anyway, my name is Brian Evans. I'm a singer. Spent most of my life opening for Joan Rivers and Leno and a lot of those folks over my life. And I decided one night, 3 in the morning, this song hit me. It's about to come out in 52 countries over the next 2 months. Everywhere they celebrate Halloween in different countries. And I wrote the song in about 5 minutes at like 3 in the morning. I put out a press release the next day, Brian Evans to shoot music video at the Bates Motel. Without asking the Bates Motel if that was okay to do. I just knew I had to do it at the Bates Motel. So 2 days later, I get a call from Universal, a lawyer. You know, we saw this press release, Brian, and we know your work from Joan and blah, blah, blah. You know, it might be a good idea to send that song over and let us take a listen to it. I was like, uh-oh. And so I emailed it to him. 2 days later, I get a call from the same lawyer, and he's like, you know, you're lucky. The Alfred Hitchcock estate is approving it. It's the first music video they've ever allowed to be filmed at the Bates Motel. And I announced it before I even had permission. And the lawyer says, so you can shoot your music video here, but can I give you some advice? I said, yes, what? He says, don't ever do that again. And so the video has actually inspired a new TV series that Carrot Top and my friends Kainoa Jacinto, Andy Biltz, Evan LaRochelle, and Dan O'Leary, who's his manager, we're going to be producing a TV series like The Twilight Zone. So it's really turning into something I never would have believed, and it all just came about by saying, I'm going to do it. and then let the chips fall where they may. And that's what you need to do sometimes, because you never know. So would you like to hear the song? Yes. Woo! All right. Roll it. I'm the ghoul that's in your closet, and I'll be coming for you soon. So what do you think? Put your hands together now, come on. Thank you. You won't forget this performance, will you? I'm the creature, baby. I'm the creature, baby. I'm the creature, baby. And I'll be coming for you soon.